Everyone, right, I'm going to talk to you about ties this morning, brick ties. Now, I've been on another job and I've seen that the ties were all in rows like this. Now that you're meant to do maximum every 300mm high, and that's on a reveal. But when you're on normal brickwork coming through, what you're meant to do is stagger the ties. So you'll see there's one there. You stagger the ties, so what you do is basically you'll see that these ties have been staggered. So on every every 450 high you put an extra course of ties, so they are staggered. That one's in line with the below. You stagger all your ties. Now okay, so here's the table, and if you look, there is how the ties should be staggered. So where it says 900mm, that's 900mm apart. You can see that they're in crossing sections up against the window opening. It should be no more than 225 away from the window, and that's every course of blocks. Also, where you have a movement joint, they need to be every course of blocks, which is every 225, and every 450 high. You can see that everything's 450 high normally, but they're only meant to be 900 between. We've been doing it a little bit shorter just to save any mileage, but they're meant to be spaced 900mm apart, unless you are using rigid insulation, which is 1200mm boards long. And what you can do then is you're meant to space the ties every 600mm apart and in rows. That's the only time you do them in rows, and don't stagger them. All the information comes from NHBC website. If you want to know more, go on there and have a look. Like I say, we've got blown in insulation, so we always stagger, but when you're using rigid insulation board, you need to make sure that you do it 600mm apart and in rows, and that is virtually so you can clip them properly and you don't get any slippage. And that's how you do it. Anyone else who's saying you should stagger them 750, space them horizontally 750 or 600 or whatever, it's not. It's 900 on traditional full fill insulation. If you're doing rigid board, do them at 600s, and you can put them in rows. So here's the table. You can see that general wall area is 900 and 450. Jam openings 225, not more than 300 high. But you always do it 225 because that works in with block sizes. If you're doing let's say you were doing a channel system, you'd be able to go every 4 courses instead of 3, saving on ties. But bricklayers still go every 3 for some reason, because they don't know. Or some of them don't know. There are exceptions to the rule, and that is when you're near coastal areas, they will spec different tie spacings, and obviously when you go higher with buildings, they'll have different tie spacings, and you just generally have to check on the spec of the drawing if the architect or structural engineer has specified closer tie spacings or different ties. Then you have to go with what they've done. That's it, Changs.